Okay, I know you guys are probably thinking, hey Tiana, how come you're coming back to the forms of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe if you're probably wondering, during the forms of our May month? Well, I'll explain more details about that as soon as we get the video started. Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only Tiana here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch. So, last time we've completed everything in terms of Mega Lord Epilogue by not only going for the boss rematches, but the forms of going for the gold medal run, but also with the forms of one of those levels also needs to get a gold medal with, and on top of that we not only defeated one boss, but also two final bosses here and there, like for instance with the forms of Crowned Duma, and finally Crown Master. And on top of that, we also tackle for the extra stage as well. So today, for this video, is about the fact that we're about to continue things on and head on straight to the forms of the next mode, and that's what appears to be the arena. So for those of you probably wondering, yeah, you're about to be able to fight against the exact same bosses as before on the main story mode, except now, with two copy abilities is now a thing, with the forms of the brand new ones specifically, both Sand and Mecha forms as you can tell, or specifically Mecha copy abilities as far as I'm aware, but except the fact that I do remember that time back in 2020, that basically I used the Spark ability for the sake of the forms of the regular arena, but I've decided to go for the best copy ability in the game, so as a result I'll go and decide to do Tornado instead, because that way I just want to able to get this video done, because if you couldn't tell already, this is my second attempt for this recording session, by the way. Not only because of the fact that, well, don't get me wrong, the footage still looks fine, but it's just about the fact that I have exactly the same issue I have since during the forms of in Metroid Fusion Let's Play so far, and that is that my microphone is actually glitching out. So as a result, once again, it decides to able to go ahead and cut out certain stuff. And as a result, I'm not too pleased about the faults of my first attempt of my commentary recording. Especially it's bad enough about the fact that, relatively speaking, that also happened during the forms of in Donkey Kong Country Returns Let's Play for both Mighty and Ray. And on top of that, on a rare occasion for Sonic, during the forms of in yesterday's Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2 Let's Play so far. In fact, speaking of which though, he was originally trying to go back onto the forms of Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2, but unfortunately though, he is pretty much ill at this rate, so he was able to take a rest for a bit, especially concerning about the fact that that's the reason why for the time being, for the sake of the forms of today anyway, just for today only, because obviously I'm about to be in charge during the forms of this uploading schedule for the sake of time. So either way, that's essentially how this works for this point, especially concerning about the fact that I was originally trying to go ahead and get back into this game at some point during the summer, specifically in June, July, or August to be more specific, but I've decided able to actually get this video up and running first, so just in case I just want to get this out of the way first. But, anywho, so, yeah, this is a perfect example of why I've decided able to actually come back into this game for some time, for the sake of the forms of the arena anyway, because I already mentioned about this before, is that recently Sonic did somehow manage to able to felt pretty ill recently, so hopefully he'll recover himself and during at some point in next week, so hopefully that until next week he will be back onto the forms of Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2 at some point, so... But either way though, that might be saying something for this much. And on top of all that stuff though is about the fact that, honestly guys, there's not much else I can talk about for the sake of time, because I was really hoping I can able to actually fix that stupid issue again, when it comes to the forms of my microphone is actually getting a bit glitched up at one point, despite we did somehow manage to have that microphone for about... let's just say since 2020, so it's about like roughly 3 years right now. So I don't know if I'm also able to get the replacement anytime soon. Well, it still works, even to this day. But it's just about the fact, no matter what though, I think the only thing I blame at is the lag of my laptop. Like, seriously, the lag is about to get any worse and it's about to get clocked out. Like, at one point it'll start running at the speed of molasses, and it's just about the fact that hopefully by that time and by the end of the year, we can possibly able to actually get ourselves our new laptop replacement, because let me tell you, it's getting rather old school for the sake of the phones of what we had our Acer laptop for the longest amount of time, and it's just about the fact no matter what though, it's getting a bit, I don't know, it's just about the fact I'm just pretty annoyed for the sake of time, because either way though, I will definitely need to fix that problem at some point whenever I go back onto Metroid Fusion by that time until on Tuesday and Thursday, at least for the sake of time anyway. So either way though, that basically explains why about the fact that I decided able to be in charge in joining forms of today's day, which appears to be by the forms of today it is the 7th of May today, in this case in 2023 today. So naturally speaking, we've only got about 5 more days to go until The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for the Nintendo Switch is finally going to be releasing. So it's almost approaching, guys. It's almost approaching. It's just around the corner as well. So, but either way though, I'm very surprised about the fact that days go by a lot quicker than I was expected. But either way though, that'll be discussion until whenever I go back onto Metroid Fusion at some form or another. So, but either way though, because either way, I'm sure that everyone else out there are also going to be excited about this as well, which I think that I, including Mighty and Ray, have already mentioned about that. Ever since Journey Forms have been on the 5th of May, just about a week before the game is finally coming out. So, but either way though, because for the time being, whilst I wait until The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is finally releasing on the Switch, that's another reason why I've decided to come back to this game for a bit. So, even though I will admit though right away, it's just only for one mode I'm going to be able to actually focus on right now, which is of course the arena, as I said before. So relatively speaking, when it comes to the structure of the arena itself, it plays pretty much exactly like the Forms of how it does in the original version for sure. Although you can still able to actually experience the mode within multiplayer and stuff like that, even though that you can only play as a multitude of colored Kirbys, even though player 1 will force to play as the pink color. Although, if you manage able to completely done with the Forms of the Arena, you can sure enough able to actually once again unlock the ability to able to play as, you know, multitude of characters between King Dedede, Meta Knight, and Bandetta Waddle Dee. And that's basically all there is to it, basically. So, if you, assuming of course, if you want able to experience your true teamwork, then obviously you can do it for it. So, and I'm pretty sure about the fact that, unlike the Forms of how it does it on, let's just say in terms of the forms of later on throughout the majority of the playthrough of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, if we get to the point that if we go on to the forms of the true arena, once we get to that at some point soon, basically there might be some similarities from here, but it's also it does have one significant differences this time. But I'm sure that we will point that out during at some point once we get to the forms of the true arena, so... Oh, and also during at some point until tomorrow anyway, after this video releases, that the UK version of Puss in Boots The Last Wish is finally going to be releasing on DVD and Blu-ray at the same time, including the 4K Ultra HD version or something. Well, mind you, I haven't exactly looked upon that much of the 4K Ultra HD versions of certain films as far as I might consider it. Especially the last time I actually looked upon something related to the 4K Ultra HD copy of certain films is obviously the Super Mario Bros. Movie, because, you know, I'm still waiting and waiting until that film finally gets its release date on DVD and Blu-ray versions, I might add. So, but either way though, that might be saying something, so... Oh, and also, one thing I supposedly enough that I believe... I'm pretty sure that both Mighty and Ray have already mentioned about this earlier, since in Journey Forms within Donkey Kong Country Returns Let's Play, about the fact the matter is though that recently Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Nintendo Switch has recently become 5 years recently, since in 3 days ago. So as a result, I haven't gone back into the forms of that version because obviously we've been busy playing, you know what I mean, with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and in fact I've almost gone close to able to actually fully 100% everything in terms of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, but then it turns out about the fact that I am currently missing quite a few items for, not only for crafting, but also with other stuff here and there as well. So because of this though, I was very close to able to finish up everything for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And on top of all that stuff though, is about the fact that I was originally trying to go back onto Breath of the Wild to do some side quests, including DLC, But I think I'm also able to wait on that, and during at some point if I get some spare free time alone. So, at least if I'm assuming so anyway. So either way though, and fundamentally speaking though, as far as what both Mighty and Ray have already mentioned about this already, also during the films within Donkey Kong Country Returns Let's Play, that the next film we're about to be seeing on the big screen is definitely Fast and Furious 10, or specifically Fast X. Wait, because obviously we've already got most of those Fast and Furious films, as you probably already expect. And on top of all that stuff though, about the fact that, well, I think that's about it basically, in terms of May itself. When it comes to film releases for that department, even though the only film we're not going to be still seeing, and that's of course, The Little Mermaid live-action adaptation. Because I think that we've already pointed things out during the films of the, not only in Metroid Fusion, but also with Donkey Kong Country Returns Let's Play. So I just don't feel like trying to able to discuss on it ever again. Especially concerning about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, I just don't feel like trying to see that movie, because that movie's gonna blow. Especially concerning about the fact that, well, it just never felt quite the same as it used to be nowadays. Especially because all they want is just money and money and money and hope for the best. Especially concerning about the fact it's bad enough about the fact that, well, you know about the fact that in last year that we got 2 box office bombed when it comes to both Pixar and Disney itself, with both Lightyear and Strange World. That basically that maybe seems the case, so. But I digress. I think that's as far as I can talk about this for the sake of the forms of today's uploading schedule in mind. Although, then again, that we'll promise you guys, I'll let Sonic will get back onto the forms of Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2 once he's fully recovered, until specifically next week. So, and I'm pretty sure at the moment he's got a cold right now, so I'm guessing that probably explains why that he seems to have a bit of struggle of commentating itself. Since during the films of it yesterday, after, one of those floors in particular, so. And of course, similar to the films of how it does in the original version of the films of Kirby's Return to Dreamland, you're still able to actually save not only 1, but 3 boss fights based off from the likes of the films of Another Dimension for last, because, concerning about the fact that that was actually the finale portion of the films of the regular arena, so. I can assure you that we might potentially try to beat this arena for the quickest time imaginable. Especially concerning about the fact that I do remember that time, since that we've already technically did this back in 2020 on the original Wii version, that I somehow used the Spark ability, and that ended up very, very well. But then as it turns out, we're going to be doing a bit of a switcheroo this time. Because obviously, as I said before, we'll be using the Tornado ability for the sake of time, so. Now, I suppose healing items really doesn't matter to me, though, aside from the fact that I only somehow managed able to heal one of those few situations. But either way, though, again, I must admit that I apologize if my commentary is a bit slightly bare bones for the sake of time, but that's just because about the fact I just want to able to actually just point things out right about now. That I'm hoping I can able to actually fix that problem for. Not only because of the stupid lag and all that stuff, but also about the fact I'm hoping my commentary does not get glitched out again. But either way, that basically does it for lore and mega lore right there. So yeah, relatively speaking, you still need to able to take a ride on the forms of Landerer in order to able to deal the amount of damage to the forms of lore and Megalore himself, so just to ensure it makes it a little bit more of a similar kind of fight as you remember from the actual main story mode. So I tell you what, once we finish up with the forms of the arena, I will take a break on this game, as I said before, and whenever I get back into it though, it will be definitely going to be on summertime, so. And the best part about that is that the next mode we're going to be toggling through after this mode has been wrapped up, that basically the next mode we're going to be showing off is the forms of Merry Mega Land, which, sure enough, not only do we able to come across into ourselves not only 8 familiar sub-games from the classic Kirby games, but also 2 brand new sub-games that is actually introduced in this game. Mind you, there's only 1 sub-game exception to this, and in spoiler alert for those of you who want to know what the missing sub-game is going to be, that's what appears to be Scope Shots, because of the forms of how the fact that that particular sub-game only utilizes motion controls and all that stuff. Although it's pretty much just like the forms of how the fact that that Scope Shot is going to get replaced by the forms of one of those familiar classic sub-games in Kirby's past. So, but either way though, but then again, that discussion will be for a later time. So, either way, time to take on Megalord for the second time, and specifically the final form anyway. And we can potentially try to kick his butt for reals for much more of a quicker passion, because obviously since I've still got my Tornado copy ability with me, and of course the timer itself will be disappear for a moment, so just to ensure about the fact that just to see if how long you're able to spend on this final fight. So, but hopefully, once I get the forms of that particular problem fixed, then we should be back on track for the sake of the forms of the uploading schedules on not only Donkey Kong Country Returns, but also with the forms of Metroid Fusion and potentially Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2. So either way though, yeah, I'll admit though right away, I apologize for my commentary gets a bit bare bones at the sake of time, so... But either way, I guess that's all there is to say when it comes to the arena itself. It's basically self-explanatory, if you, assuming of course, if you managed able to get used to with your favorite copy ability, like mine being Tornado, despite the fact that, well, I was originally trying to able to pick Sand, but it turns out about the fact that maybe I might as well need to get a bit of practice on that form, or to be more specifically, that copy ability in mind, because, relatively speaking, I'm very glad to able to take control of Kirby again, after the events of completing Megalord Epilogue, because let me tell you, using copy abilities is always going to be fun, especially concerning about the fact that, well, as you can tell, I've recently finished up with the arena with the Tornado ability, and of course, just like before, it shows you the actual time you've beaten, and on top of that, what character you did use during the forms of the arena. So, relatively speaking, we somehow managed to beat the arena for about 11 minutes and 2 seconds, so, along with 78 milliseconds, so that should be all top notch, and you should be able to get other characters as well, as I said this before. So with that being said though, we got the endings up here, so join me next time for more of Let's Play of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, is that we'll show off the best part, and that's what appears to be Merry Megaland. So exponentially, I'll be back for this game at some point in summer. Again, I can't really tell what month is it going to be, but I'll let you guys know about it. So either way though, and I'll see you guys at some point during summer. Later fellas.